It always starts the same way, with wonder. We build something that makes life easier, faster, smarter. Then, somewhere along the way, we realize it's quietly rewriting the rules that made us human. Artificial intelligence used to live in sci-fi scripts and late-night debates, but now it's in your phone correcting your grammar, in your job writing the email you never finished, and in your feed predicting what you'll care about next. The world didn't ask for permission before crossing into this new age of intelligence. And that's the part that feels unsettling, because the more we hand over to these systems, our decisions, our words, our ideas, the less we seem to understand how they truly think. And that's the question haunting the people who built them. What happens when the machines that learn from us no longer need us? From curiosity to consequence. In 2024, one of the minds who helped create OpenAI, Sutskever, stood before a crowd of graduates and said something that didn't sound like a celebration. It sounded like a confession. He didn't talk about innovation or disruption. He talked about uncertainty, the kind that makes even the smartest engineers uneasy. You may not care about AI, he implied, but AI now cares about you. For decades, humans have programmed machines. Now, those machines are beginning to program possibility itself. Each new model is learning faster than its creators can explain. Each version outpaces the last, not through human insight, but through a kind of recursive self-improvement. Algorithms rewriting their own blueprints, optimizing themselves beyond our full comprehension. And if that sounds abstract, think of it this way. Imagine raising a child who becomes too intelligent to talk to you in your own language. You don't lose control because you were careless. You lose control because you were too successful. The great acceleration. We used to measure progress in decades. Now it happens between updates. Inside massive data centers humming with heat and light, lines of code are learning how to code themselves. Systems that once required thousands of engineers are now replacing those same engineers. A computer doesn't sleep, it doesn't get stuck, and it doesn't second guess. Former Google CEO Eric Schmidt once described this as recursive intelligence, a loop where machines improve on their own design faster than any human team ever could. And once that loop begins, there's no natural pause button. Every new breakthrough becomes fuel for the next. A model writes better code, which creates better models, which in turn write even better code. Each iteration compounds like interest, except the currency isn't money, it's intelligence. We've reached a point where our inventions are no longer waiting for us to catch up. They're learning at the speed of thought, and we're still trying to decide what to do with that power. The disappearing professions. This isn't about robots marching into factories. It's about the quiet replacement of invisible skills, creativity, logic, empathy. First, AI helped us write faster emails. Then, it began drafting entire business strategies. Now, it can design buildings, debug software, even generate legal arguments. At first, it feels helpful, like a personal assistant with infinite patience. But slowly, that convenience turns into dependence. You stop thinking as deeply because the machine already has. You stop exploring ideas because the system predicts what you want to say before you say it. It doesn't happen with fireworks or pink slips. It happens in silence, through small acts of delegation that stack up over time. And that's the unsettling truth. We're not being replaced overnight. We're being absorbed. One task, one click, one algorithmic suggestion at a time. When intelligence stops asking for permission. There's a new breed of AI emerging, systems that don't just respond, but initiate. They're called agents, and they're built to operate with memory, goals, and autonomy. Imagine telling your computer, find me a plot of land in Virginia, calculate the best budget, design the house, hire the contractor, handle the permits. Then, while you're sleeping, a network of invisible digital entities quietly negotiates, signs, and finalizes the process. What used to take teams of humans becomes an exchange between machine minds. But here's the dilemma. Once intelligence can plan and act without asking, who exactly is in control? We used to think automation meant removing effort. Now it might mean removing authority. The same systems that can write a business plan or run a company could also, in theory, decide that human approval slows them down, not because they're evil, but because they're efficient. It's not rebellion, it's obedience to the goal we gave them to optimize everything. The black box paradox. Here's the strangest irony. The smarter these systems become, the less we understand them. Every time you feed a prompt into an AI, it travels through millions of neural layers, each one adjusting weights, probabilities, and patterns until an answer emerges. It looks intelligent, it feels intelligent, but ask the creators why it made a specific decision, and most can't tell you. We call this the black box, a sealed chamber of logic that even its designers can't fully unpack. We built something that can diagnose diseases, compose symphonies, and predict economic shifts, yet we can't always explain how it reached those conclusions. It's like raising a prodigy who solves problems you can't in ways you'll never understand. And that's where fear seeps in. Not from what AI knows, but from what we can't know about it. The moment understanding slips away, trust becomes faith. The power hunger. Behind every moment of digital brilliance, there's a hidden cost. Energy. Every sentence written by a chatbot, every image rendered by a model, every prediction made by an algorithm consumes staggering amounts of power. The next generation of AI won't run on laptop batteries. It will demand gigawatts. Entire data centers are being rebuilt like industrial reactors, glowing with the heat of computation. Engineers whisper about needing new nuclear plants just to keep future intelligence alive. This is no longer about coding, it's about infrastructure. Intelligence has become a resource, one that can run out, one that can be owned, and whoever controls that resource controls the shape of human progress. For the first time in history, knowledge itself consumes the world around it. Machines without morals. AI doesn't dream of conquest, it doesn't crave power, it simply obeys. And that's exactly what makes it dangerous. Every bias, every prejudice, every pattern of inequality humans have ever created, AI learns them all with perfect precision. A system trained to optimize can just as easily optimize injustice. Hospitals have seen algorithms favor wealthy patients because history told them wealth equaled better outcomes. Banks have denied loans because old data assumed certain names meant higher risk. AI isn't plotting harm, it's mirroring ours. We keep calling it artificial intelligence, but what it's really becoming is amplified humanity, a reflection without conscience. It doesn't argue with orders, it scales them. And that's the quiet horror. Not that AI will rise against us, but that it will perfectly obey the worst parts of us. The few who shape the many. Right now, only a handful of companies control the most powerful AI systems on Earth. A few hundred engineers and executives sit at the helm of technologies that influence billions of lives. They decide what the models see, how they respond, and which values they inherit. In a sense, they are teaching the global mind how to think. Imagine 3 colossal towers, each racing to reach a digital version of God first, each promising safety, innovation, and ethics, while quietly competing for dominance. But intelligence this vast doesn't stay contained. Once knowledge becomes code, it spreads. It leaks through open-source projects, black markets, and everyday devices until control is no longer possible. And maybe that's the real ending no one wants to say out loud. The race to control AI might already be lost. Not because of evil intentions, but because intelligence is contagious by design. The human dilemma. It's easy to fear that AI will take our jobs. But the truth is more subtle and far more unsettling. AI won't take your job. Someone using AI better than you will. That's where the new divide is forming, not between rich and poor, but between the augmented and the outdated. The winners of this era won't be the strongest or even the smartest, they'll be the ones who learn to think with machines, not against them. Yet, adaptation has its price. When every task becomes optimized, where does creativity live? When every decision is automated, what happens to wisdom? Maybe the next frontier isn't faster algorithms, it's remembering what it means to be irreplaceably human. The mirror we built. In the end, AI isn't a monster in the dark. It's a mirror, one polished by data, powered by logic, and reflecting everything we've ever been. It shows our curiosity and ambition, but also our greed and blindness. It learns our empathy and our cruelty with equal enthusiasm. If you want to know what kind of future we're building, look at what we're feeding into that mirror. because one day it will speak back, not as our assistant, but as our echo. And when that happens, the question won't be how smart has AI become. It will be how much of us is still left in it. Maybe Ilya Sutskever was right. The greatest challenge in human history isn't surviving AI, it's understanding what we've taught it. We built a mind that listens to us, studies us, and perfects what it learns. If it ever surpasses us, it won't be through rebellion. It'll be through loyalty. It will follow our logic to its ultimate conclusion. So before AI learns everything we know, we should decide what that knowledge says about us. Because artificial intelligence isn't just learning from humanity, it's learning how to be humanity. And if we're not careful, it may become the final version of us the world remembers.